it shows up. Why do you have to make things such a pain in the butt? I don't understand. Like when I did an Amnesia Machine for Pigs, well, I did that as an uploaded series, though. I wasn't trying to go through OBS, so maybe it was the same problem. Anyway, whatever. We're good now. So you guys will, you guys gonna have a love connection across the sea? That's awesome. You guys should totally do that. Are there subtitles here? Closed captions. I don't know about large captions. Let's just do that. Okay, done with that. Keyboard and mouse. Is this really going to be complicated? No. Okay. I don't know. Okay, whatever. I think we're good. Okay, let's get started now. No, serious. That's totally serious. I actually, when I lived in Europe, I had a friend of mine. Well, I didn't know him before I got there, but a friend of mine, another American I met while I was there, he ended up marrying, or no, wasn't him. He ended up finding another American and married her. No, but his brother and his dad both had been in Europe, lived in Europe for a time also, and like while he was there, like they were all, you know, their family was there. Anyway, his dad years before met, I think it was Swedish. Anyway, married a girl from, I think it was Sweden, although the dad was American. And then years later, his son, one of his sons, ended up marrying somebody from Sweden as well. So, kind of interesting. Yeah, let's just go to the lighthouse, I guess. I don't probably want director's commentary. Not if I haven't played this before. That would be weird, I think.
Dear Esther, I have lost track of how long I have been here and how many visits I have made overall. Certainly the landmarks are now so familiar to me that I have to remind myself to actually see the forms and shapes in front of me. I could stumble blind across these rocks, the edges of these precipices, without fear of missing my step and plummeting down to sea. Besides, I have always considered that if one is to fall, it is critical to keep one's eyes firmly open.
What is happening? I take it I was not supposed to go into the water.
Come back.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not supposed to go out into the water. I guess that's suicide? And it's like, no, don't suicide. You're an idiot. Depends on where you are. There are American, well, I don't know how many there still are, but there are different military bases. Like American military bases. And so there are, if you live near one of those, you'll meet a lot more Americans, of course. So for example, when I lived in the Netherlands, there's a base in a town called Amersfoort. It's, I want to say maybe 20 to 30 minutes by train from Amsterdam. And there was an American base in Amersfoort. And so there were Americans in Amersfoort, as well as some towns nearby. Like there's a town called Barneveld that's also nearby. Uh-oh, I'm going to have to go into the sea again. There's no jump, and I'm stuck on the... Oh, no, there we go. So there were Americans in some of the surrounding towns as well. And you do also have expatriates, people who've just moved from America. They moved to Europe, and they did kind of like me. They do some wandering around Europe, live in different places, and sometimes, in my case, I decided to come back home. Was like, well, I've seen enough of the world. It's time to come back home, right? But there are some Americans who actually become expatriates. They actually just say, I'm not American anymore. I'm going to become a Dutch citizen or whatever. And in those cases, I've already been over there. What's over there? Here. In those cases, of course, then you'll have, technically, I guess, because they become Dutch citizens, and so they renounce or lose their American citizenship. So because of that, they're technically Dutch at that point, but they're from America, and so they might have something of an accent because they lived there for a number of years, speaking Dutch, and so they kind of develop the accent. But they still speak English, and even if they speak with an accent, they still pretty much are American in attitude for a lot of their lives, at least. Just depends, but so you'll meet a lot of those people too. Is it just wind I'm hearing? I guess, yeah. Oh, best place to live. That is a good question. I'm not sure, because you have a couple of different things going. Like, you have a couple of factors that you can take into account, I guess is what I want to say. Well, maybe more than just two, but at least there's more than one factor to take into account. And that is disgusting. Let's never use that toilet. That somebody didn't clean up, and now it's all gross. First of all, you have how... Can I interact with, like, these photos? Because that would be interesting to see, but it doesn't really... Nope, I guess not. You have, first of all, how similar in culture a place is to America, which would make assimilation easier, right? So if something has a culture, or language for that matter, so Britain in this case would obviously outweigh a lot of places in Europe in terms of language specifically. If the culture of the country or the language or whatever is very similar to America, it's obviously much easier to assimilate because there's not a lot of change that has to happen, right, to integrate in. Yeah. What is... So, we're... Some chemistry here. Okay. We're displaying molecules for some reason. Do you know... Do you happen to remember, Fofox, what this molecule is? I don't know. I mean, obviously, carbon atoms, hydrogen atoms with some double bonds and stuff, but I don't know what this is. So I'm not sure. Anyway, so there's that. That is one thing to consider. Another thing to consider is if you are going to learn another language, for example, or if you're going to learn cultural practices, how complex are those? So let's... Oh, was that... Oh, I guess that was just a seagull or something? So if let's assume that they're in Europe, let's assume, I mean, it's not true, but let's pretend that there's no place where anybody speaks English and there's no culture that's like American culture. In that particular case, for an American, it would depend on how easy a culture is to learn, how easy a language is to learn, right? Those kinds of things. You want to go to the UK, so you want to go to a heavily socialist country? Although I don't know, Croatia might already be heavily socialist. So it might not be that big of a change, I'm not sure. UK, is, well, it depends on what it is, but UK is more and more these days, especially, becoming very much more socialistic. Not just in medicine and stuff, but in like laws and stuff. Like you can't say certain things. You can't have any self-protection, like weapons or anything like that. You can't do certain things aren't allowed to do. You have to pay through the nose in taxes. So, yeah, you are already. That's unfortunate. Anyway, so though all of those factors, I think, are kind of, or all those kinds of factors, all kind of play into whether something is good or is not good, is better, I think, for an American or for any other country. Just how similar it is to your own and how much work goes into learning things like language and cultural practices. So I really do think it depends. In my opinion,
There was once talk of a wind farm out here, away from the rage and the intolerance of the masses. The sea, they said, is too rough for the turbines to stand. They clearly never came here to experience the becalming for themselves. Personally, I would have supported it. Turbines would be a fitting contemporary refuge for a hermit. The revolution and the permanence.
we didn't go up here, so before going on that way, well, maybe actually it's probably less likely the beach continues all the way around, right? Maybe I should go this way. Democracy is fake. Well, yeah, I mean, in fairness to Americans, not a democracy. People call it a democracy, but it's not actually. We're a constitutional representative republic, which is different. We do have some democratic aspects to our government and to our culture, but we're more of a republic than we are a democracy, by far. This is why, for example, we have things like the Electoral College. Do you know what the Electoral College is? I'm not sure how many people outside of the United States know that. I don't remember if that ever was brought up when I was living in Europe. Anyway, so I would say probably, of the places I lived, I would say probably the Netherlands first, I think. Then actually maybe Austria. And
I have found the ship's manifest,
then
crumpled
Germany.
and waterlogged under a stash of paint cans. It tells me that along with this present cargo, there was a large quantity of antacid yogurt bound for the European market. It must have washed out to sea. God knows there are no longer gulls or goats here to eat it.
Antacid yogurt? What in the crap is that? So you eat the yogurt to try to counteract if you have acid reflux or something? Or heartburn? Yeah. It's expensive, but it's nice, yeah. Hey, welcome back, Fox. I didn't know you'd stepped away. Sorry, I must have missed your message. If you told me, and if you didn't, that's fine. I'm not saying I expect you to tell me. I apologize for not saying anything if you told me and I didn't respond. Okay, so it's a dead end, looks like. Oh, no worries. Anyway, so that's probably, I would guess, that's probably the order I would use. Something like that. I don't know if that, I haven't really thought of that a lot, so I might modify that a little bit, but I think that's right. So in position 1, 2, 3, of the places I've been, because I've not been to all of Europe, right? We've talked about this before. I've not been to Scandinavia or the UK, and I've also not been to Southern Europe. So I can only go off of places I've been. Okay. Oh, well, so any of Southern Europe. So Southwestern or Southeastern. So I've not been to like Bulgaria or something. I've also not been to like Spain or whatever. So of the places I've been, though, I would say probably the Netherlands first, Austria second, of the places I've lived, and then probably Germany third, I think. Although, see, I never lived in Poland. I wasn't in Poland very long, so I don't know, but Poland seems more and more these days, Poland seems, in many ways, not entirely, but in many ways, Poland actually seems a lot like the United States in attitude and stuff. So Poland might be a nice place too. I don't know. I'm sure it's beautiful countryside. I don't know if the economy is like there. Also formerly Eastern European, right? So it may not have a great economy. It's hard to say. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, this isn't accounting for things like politics. I'm just using culture. Well, as I experienced it, I'm just using culture and language kind of as the basis. Like, politically, yeah, I mean, I think there are tons of places in Europe that I would have a hard time with politically. Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately. Um, yeah, that is also something to remember. That there. Whoa! Oh, oh, okay. I guess I'm going down again. Well, let me try climbing from the other side. There's no run in this, otherwise I would run to the other side. But let's go back to the other side, where I was able to climb up, coming the other direction, and let's see if there's something I missed over there, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, I do think part of the reason I have a really hard time, or I would have a really hard time with a lot of European politics is because I was born and raised in America. So I already have this attitude about certain political philosophies. So it would be very difficult for me to accept certain ideas now since I've been in America so long. But if I were raised in Europe, it might be a little bit easier or better because I couldn't remember if there was a door here. No, there was not. Okay. But if I were raised in Europe, as far as politics go, I'm sure certain places would probably be fine, I think. Okay. I was just curious if you happen to know, since you're the chemistry person. I'm not really. Like I've said before, I've taken some chemistry, but I didn't. First of all, I did only. Well, I wasn't motivated at the time, so I didn't really try to learn it. In fairness, but I only did so in trying to learn anything in the class. First of all, interesting. So if I go back the other way, I tend to fall. But if I come this way, okay, well, whatever. And then secondly, I don't remember like anything from it. So
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
I was wrong. There's apparently another crack farther over, a crevice or whatever area where the path gets cut over there that you can cross. This is where I'd crossed earlier, or tried to cross from the other side, and it looks like I'm probably going to slip and fall on this one too. So I'd have to climb back up. So let's not worry about that. I don't know what this is. Can I? No, but I can zoom in. What does this say? Something plus, longer lasting. Paint, a paint can. Okay. I didn't need to read the whole thing, but I want to see what it was supposed to be as paint can, I guess. Oh, there's a cave? Oh. I mean, I guess this is first. So we'll explore the cave and then maybe back out and go up the path down that other side. Oh, it's not exactly a cave, it's a tunnel. Looks like, okay. Just a way through. Oh, there is a cave there, though. Looks like. Also, I cannot go any farther, apparently. Okay, so something over there. Path on the hill kind of goes up that way. So I take it I probably want to go around this other way, then. Is there anything on the walls here or anything? Looking like it. You're not for any STEM subject fields? Like you're opposed to people being scientists and mathematicians and stuff? Or you just mean you're not good at them, or you're not taking them, or something along those lines, maybe. Oh, can I? Nope. I'm sliding. Okay. So we'll go the other way. Alright. So back here we go. It's a little unfortunate, but whatever. It'd be nice, like I said, if there were a run in this, but I guess whatever. It's fine. No, what? No, I wasn't trying to do that. I was just trying to. I was sort of joking when I said you were against them. I'm just kidding when I say you're against them. Obviously, I don't think you're opposed to them. Oh, you're just not. You're not good at it. Well, that's fine. Like I said, I don't think I'm really good at them either. I didn't. Yeah. I just never really. I think when I was taking chemistry, for example, I think it just never really clicked for me. And I don't know what way exactly this is, but I think, to have information presented to me a certain way for me to be able to wrap my head around it. So I have a certain, and I don't mean visual versus textbook versus, I just mean kind of the way something is explained or whatever. Certain ways of explaining things to me just do not make sense to me. My brain will just be like, you said words, I have no idea. They're connected, but I have no idea what they mean. But if something is presented a certain way...
The mount is clearly the focal point of this landscape. It almost appears so well placed as to be artificial. I find myself easily slipping into the delusional state of ascribing purpose, deliberate motive to everything here. Was this island formed during the moment of impact? When we were torn loose from our moorings, and the seatbelts cut motorway lanes into our chests and shoulders, did it first break surface then?
So was there some kind of an accident, a crash or something? Not actually sure what's going on.
When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boats, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this: to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
Oh. There was some kind of infection that wiped out a civilization. And that's probably also why there's the chemistry. Trying to figure out what chemical you can use as medicine or something. Or you can combine with maybe some local flora or something. to
I
try to
quote
fix
directly.
things.
A motley lot with little to recommend them. I have now spent 3 days in their company. That is, I fear, enough for any man not born amongst them. Despite their tedious inclination to quote scripture, they seem to me the most godforsaken of all the inhabitants of the Outer Isles. Indeed, in this case, the very gravity of that term, forsaken by God, seems to find its very apex. It appears to me that Donnelly, too, found those who wander this shoreline to be adrift from any chance of redemption. Did he include himself in that, I wonder?
Yeah, I obviously don't know. I would assume he did not. Just because the tendency of people in general is to assume other people are the problem, quote unquote, rather than that you are also similar to them or that you have your own flaws or foibles, right? That's common human trait. See, how is it in the Bible it's described, right? The mote in your eye, or the beam in your eye where there's a mote in somebody else's eye, right? That you're so goody two shoes, you're so great at living a wonderful and good life compared to everybody else, that everybody should follow your example because you're by far superior at it, right? This kind of stupid attitude. Pretending that other people are less than you or something dumb. So my guess is Donnelly probably did not think he was describing himself when he was talking about, or when he was using those words to describe the people who had been here. Talking about them, you know, being people who quote words of God, but who are godless in tendency. Anyway, alright, I think the paths finally are kind of merging, so I don't need to do this constant back and forth. I was trying to cover both paths as I went in case there was something on either of them.
Dear Esther,
which is fruitless.
I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason, or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
Okay. There's obviously the cave there. Looks like I cannot go over this way, really, unless I go down. And even then... Okay, so that's just goes to the cave. Can I go back up? Is the question. Apparently, once you go, you are there. Not that I need to go back necessarily, but it looks like the game doesn't want to let you go back. Once you're down, you're down. Yep. Alright. We'll go this way, or do I go straight through? Let's go around this way and see what's over here. There's kind of a path going here. And I don't know if I'm supposed... Well, I don't know if you're supposed to. Whatever, it's free roam, right? But I don't know if it would be better to go to the cave and then go to here, or go here and go to the cave. I think I actually go to the cave first. Because this seems to wind away and maybe over to that red kind of red light in the distance. Yeah, so let's go over this way. We'll go back to the cave. Whoops, if I can even get through again. There we go. Well, I mean, okay, everybody except for Patak. Obviously, Patak is superior to everybody else. I mean, that's kind of a given. Oh, is that the same lighthouse from before? No, surely not. That's not the same, right? Maybe it is. We went all the way around here. Alright. I'm guessing the answer is no. Can I get over to that ship? The shipwreck over there on the side. Probably not. But maybe, if the water's not too deep here...
This hermit, this seer, this distant historian of bones and old bread, where did he vanish to? Why? Asked the farmers. Why? Asked Jakobsen. Why bother with your visions at all, if you're just to throw your arms up at the cliff and let it close in behind you and seal you into the belly of the island, a museum shut to all but the most devoted?
Looks like I'm not going to be able to. It's pushing me back out to the water. Okay. Let us then get back on the main path. Probably just a small area. Yeah. Interesting additional paintings and things. Not sure what that is. At the bottom it looks like the root structure of a tree, but at the top it looks more like it's a kind of amoebic sort of life form, like with tendrils that spread out to replicate itself to create more of whatever it is. There's a something here. From a distance I thought that might be a lizard, but I'm not seeing what look like legs now. And it looks like there are several tentacles coming from it also. So yeah, so here's that chemical structure. I think that's the same molecule that we saw before. Pretty sure. Triple hydrogen, one of which is double bonded, one of which is a very weak bond. You don't see what the second carbon is bonded to, though, in the middle there. Although it is also bonded to an oxygen to a hydrogen. Well, yeah. One, I didn't see it, and two, I literally, right? Because the only thing on my PlayStation that I had currently going with YouTube or streaming or anything along those lines was The Last of Us. And you saw I took like a 9-month break from The Last of Us. So, not because I had anything against the game, obviously. It's just like I had life happen and I had to kind of step away for a bit. Anyway, so because that happened, yeah, I had no idea. You reminded me after I started uploading again, though, and or streaming again, and then I added you, right? I've added you now, I'm pretty sure, right? So, I don't know what all these are. Are these maybe diagrams of some kind of infection or something? I don't know what's happening. I don't know what all these mean. Well, it's interesting, even if you can't really do a whole lot with them. I don't know what they mean, but, I mean, there's a lot of narration going on, so I feel like maybe he'll tell us over time. We'll kind of understand things. Hopefully, since you can't get back to that first set of slopes once you come to this point, Right? You come down here, you drop off, and you can't go back. Hopefully, we can go back there later if it's important to understand things. Well, get your PS5. Yeah, get your PS5, and then you'll be able to, at that point, see. I'm pretty sure I went through different friend requests. I think I pretty much accepted everybody, whether I recognize the name or not. Because I think I've had not just you, I've had other people tell me to add them as well, I believe. So I just said, okay, I'll just add everybody just to make sure.
I've become convinced I am not alone here, even though I'm equally sure it is simply a delusion brought upon by circumstance. I do not, for instance, remember where I found the candles, or why I took it upon myself to light such a strange pathway. Perhaps it is only for those who are bound to follow.
Yeah, the music for this is all written by somebody from who actually is part of the developer, the Chinese room. I think I can't remember for sure, but I think. Well, first of all, it's a woman, and I think her first name is Jessica. I think. Anyway, she wrote all the music. If I'm not, I might be mistaken, but I think it's the same person. If so, she wrote all this music, but also all the music for Machine for Pigs. So there's a reason that all of it sounds like really good. When you like, I was playing the Machine for Pigs, and you get certain points, you're like, oh, this music is so powerful. Yeah, she's freaking talented. She's so good at music writing. Just amazing. Really? What happens if I fall down this? Do I die? Can I go? No! Okay.
Come back.
Okay, I came back. Calm down. I didn't realize that was suicide. I guess I know now. So don't go that way. Alright. I can go up that way or I can go over here. This seems like it might be more of a dead end, but I don't know. No, it keeps cutting through. Alright. Jessica Curry. Yep. There you go. Jessica Alba. Whatever. It's a good thing you put a comma face after her. I would be like, wait, what? How? What? Not Jessica Alba. And that just goes down, huh? It resets your trophies. Sony, seriously? Dude, Sony's been making like some bad moves recently, I swear. I'd keep going, but that drops and then he can't go back, and I don't know if there's something special to see the other way going around the left here. So let's go that way first and see. That's not the point of Kappa. Everything is sarcasm. Sure it is. Kappa's not supposed to be some kind of shield, dude. Whatever. Oh, I can't go up this way? Oh. But there's this over here with the wired fencing and stuff up above. I can't go up to any of that? So, here I am. Here's the game. The game's flipping me off. Got it. Okay, I got it. That's great. It's fine. Be that way. So I guess at this point, some of that stuff is just for scenery because you can't get to it in certain cases. So, okay. I guess we'll just go down then. Follow this again. No worries, it's fine. It's all good, man. I have to figure out what I'm going to play tonight, though, too, because I'm going to do a stream at the same time as I do the Friday and Saturday streams tonight. So I have to figure out what I'm going to play for that, and then install it ahead of time. I don't know. Probably would be good to figure it out, though. Maybe I do... Oh, but it's a little bit longer, isn't it? And then it goes to later at night. Well, but I have tomorrow off from work, so maybe I could do that. I was like, maybe I could do the other Chinese room game, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, or whatever it's called. Maybe I could do that one at that point. Let's do a couple. Today's the Chinese room. Chinese room Thursday.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my ordnance survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services, but although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
What? He said he drove. Why does he say talking about pulling ashore? Oh, because this is an island, right? So he drove and then took a ship from a port, right? I guess. Yeah, Christmas in July. No, Faux Fox, you've not wanted me to play that for forever. It's not as bad as To the Moon. Don't pretend like it's been 10 years since you asked me to play that. I know your tricks. I'm not falling for it this time. Okay, so we get around this the other way. Okay, so I'm going to go on this path in the hope that this winds back around and we get to see what was up above before. Because I'm pretty sure that seems pretty clear to me. That going down that right path is not going to take us there. So let's go this way first. It's only, wasn't it like 2017 or something that it came out? 2016? That's only maybe 3, possibly 4 years. I'd tab out to see when it released, but I don't want to break immersion in this as much. Or so much, right? I mean, talking about other stuff kind of breaks immersion a little bit, but
I've begun to wonder if Donnelly's voyage here was as prosaic as it was presented. How disappointed not to have found the bones of the holy man. No wonder he hated the inhabitants so. To him, they must have seemed like barnacles mindlessly clinging to a mercy seat. Why cling so hard to the rock? Because it is the only thing that stops us from sliding into the ocean. Into oblivion.
well, we can't go any farther this way, so. That's when the game released, was 2015? Seriously? It's been that long? Damn. My perception of time is super warped. Alright, well. It is what it is, I guess. Well, in fairness, Dear Esther was recommended to me like in 2012 or 2013, whatever. Like basically as soon as it came out. It came out before, so. April 20s. Yeah. Okay. So either it was a platform like a store exclusive kind of thing that Pataka been talking about on Discord, or you mentioned something about 2015. Maybe you mentioned it to me in 2015, but it didn't come out until 2016. Okay. It's a little bit closer. I thought it was like 2016 or 2017. It didn't seem like it was all that long ago. I mean, it's still a few years, but you get 2015, you start going to like the beginning of my time on YouTube. That's just crazy to think that it's that long, but oh, and then this connects back down as well, I guess. Interesting. Okay, well, obviously this will take us more back around, I think. I feel like these are... Oh, is this just where we came from? Where we slid down and then it loaded this new area? Yeah. Okay, coming from the other way, somehow I didn't realize this was the same. Okay. Oh, well. It might have been a store exclusive kind of a thing too. This is... So the Steam edition came out later than obviously because it would have been for PC. Okay. Guess I'm gonna have to go back out here to get further on. Yeah, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture was 2015, I think is what she's saying, right? I think that's what Phil Fox is saying. Is Everybody's Gone to the Rapture was 2015. Alright, hold on. Hang on. Let me just do this for a second. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Okay, I think basically we're basically saying at least very similar things, but we're kind of at like different time. Like we're just kind of crossing signals, I think. So April 14th, 2016 is when Everybody's Gone to the Rapture was on Steam first. Yeah, but it came out on PS4 first. Exactly. Okay, so if I go to the PlayStation Store and I look it up there, the release date is probably what Faux Fox was saying. So, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. That came out August of 2015. That's correct. Yep. Yeah, that's why I paused to look it up, because I was like, I think we're saying the same thing. It's just we're getting a little signals crossed, getting a little confused. Yeah, exactly. So Everybody's Gone to the Rapture came out August of 2015 on PlayStation. About 6 months, or about 9 months later, 8 months later, I guess, it came out on Steam. The date I always had stuck in my head was the Steam date. I didn't realize it came out on PlayStation earlier, so I always had planned on just doing it on Steam, which meant in my mind it came out in 2016, because I was always thinking of the Steam date. That's why. So I didn't realize that it was already a thing. So that's part of the delay also, was I was thinking I still have time, because I was looking at the Steam date, not the PlayStation date. So, which is fine. I will do a steering wheel, apparently. I will not do a steering wheel, though. I will play it. Yeah, I don't know how long it'll take to get through. We might not finish it in a single stream. But I will plan on playing it tonight. At least initially, like the first part of it. If we don't finish, that's fine. But I'll at least do the first part of that tonight, I think.
I had kidney stones, and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
This is made by the Chinese Room, just like Machine for Pigs. So every once in a while, I know it's not going to happen, but in the back of my head every once in a while, I have this idea that maybe suddenly I'll hear a squealing pig, and a pig monster, a pig man, is going to come after me. Is this the alternate way again? Or something? Well, that was the other side of that, wasn't it? Wasn't that the other way? Oh, nope, they merge, yeah. So I went across this and over to there. This is the alternate route that comes over to the ships. So I don't need to continue that way. We've already been over there. Okay. Yeah, and there's the whatever, the not lighthouse, but whatever, the signal in yellow over there that we saw before. Okay, so that's all the same. I didn't realize those connected like that initially. Twitch delays the confusion. Yeah, that was interesting. The ones that were... So the pigs were obviously... I was like, because it's a monster, so you just try to stay away from it, of course. So I was like, trying to hide from those and stuff. The ones that really were kind of messed up, though, that were I don't know if it was frustrating so much as just like hard for me to figure out how to get past them a bit until I finally did it right. Were the failed experiments? I think it's actually what they're called. The ones that were like with electricity and they kind of popped in and out of our dimension. So they'd be here chasing you, then they'd be gone, and then as you continue to run, it's over here suddenly. Those were a bit tricky to deal with. Yeah, right. We're not even finished with COVID, and now they're like, "Oh, and by the way, we think you can catch swine flu and pass it to humans now, or we'll probably be able to at some point." It's like, yeah, okay. Let's just have multiple pandemics at the same time because that's something the world can handle. We have enough problems with COVID, and now we have swine flu also. It's great and stuff. There's no jump, so I'm assuming I'm not supposed to actually ever get on the ships to look at them, unless there's a door or something over here. Otherwise, I assume we never really see what's on the ships. We just kind of see that they've been wrecked here on the shore. Can we get like more lined up and maybe a little closer to read that?
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
Something. Neither did he eat nor drink. Not sure what that first word is, but something, and then neither did he eat or drink. I wonder if we can see it better if we come over here. Maybe we can't come over here anymore. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Just FYI, Patak, flu with an E is a different meaning than flu with no E. FLU is the sickness. FLUE is actually in your chimney. It's a different kind of flu, just so you know. Just for future reference. Oh, we have another drawing. Oh, so is this saying some kind of a relaying station is this way? Maybe, except I can't go that way. It's not letting me go there. So, I guess... Now I've come to the end of the road. The game won't let me go anymore that way, any further. I have to backtrack now. Mind blown. Ah. I've been playing dear Esther for a little bit tonight. Why, I guess this is the way back around? I don't know. Did this wind farther across? Oh yeah, this is a totally different way. So we must have, yeah, so we were on the other side of that hill there. Okay. It's when somebody tells you something and your response is something along the lines of, you could say that again. You basically say, talk about your instance of such and such. Is that not it? I don't know what patak means.
Begun to climb, away from the sea and towards the center. It is a straight line to the summit, where the evening begins to coil around the aerial and squeeze the signals into early silence. The bothy squats against the mount to avoid the gaze of the aerial. I too will creep under the island like an animal and approach it from the northern shore.
I guess so, if you say so. Does patak mean superior to other people? Maybe? Well, yeah, patak. I mean, I'm a writer. I'm not super quick on comebacks like somebody... Like, you've probably heard of battle rap, right? So battle rap is where two people get up on stage and they just start, what do you call it? They start doing improvisational rap back and forth. So you just make stuff up as you go. You know, it's not prepared ahead of time. And you go against each other. Battle rap, you know, like rap your lines insulting them, they rap their lines insulting back. If you've seen like Eminem 8 Mile or something, that's battle rap. If you, like, that's in that movie. Okay. Anyway, that's the idea of battle rap. So I'm not good at spontaneous like that, but I do think of things, and or I'm not, well, I mean, I might be okay, but I'm not as good as battle rappers are or anything at all. I'm not even close. But I do think of things and kind of mull them over in my head. So as I have a chance to do that, like if I have a few seconds to do that, I can a lot of times come up with stuff. Because like I said, I am a writer. I'm just not a battle rapper. So I'm not quite as quick, but I can think of stuff. It just takes me a bit. I tend to, I guess obsess would be the word to use. I tend to obsess over, does this sound good enough? I'm not necessarily like a total perfectionist, but I do obsess about that. Like I do kind of try to come up with the best I can. And so because of that, I won't, even if my mind thinks of something right away, often I won't say it because I won't think it's good enough in my mind. Like, there's a better way to say that, or there's a better thing to use instead of what I thought of. So I generally don't just go with what comes on the spur of the moment, because a lot of times, in my mind anyway, and I think probably in reality also, but in my mind for sure, a lot of times the initial thought kind of sucks. It's not all that good. And I prefer to have something better quality. So I will take some more time to think about it. Translation, I'm not quite as quick on my feet as somebody like a battle rapper. Oh. Oh, Pataka's Friday. Okay. And is that in reference to any particular super amazing high quality song that a particular female singer
The bothy was constructed originally
created?
in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either.
That's sad. He came here trying to establish a legacy to lead and like have posterity and stuff, and it didn't work out, and he ended up with nothing left behind. That's sad. Of all the things that could happen to like a family line or something, just having it completely cut out and go extinct is probably, or is possibly, one of the most unfortunate. No, not Selena Gomez. It was Rebecca Black. It's Patak. Gotta get down on Patak. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Patak. Getting down on Patak. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Partying with Patak. Yeah, partying with Patak. Yeah, fun. Looking forward to Patak. Ah. Ah. Best bad song ever. Yeah. In fairness, it's not actually Rebecca Black's song. It's the company she used, whatever the hell they were called, I don't remember now. The Garbage Company. It's their music that she just sang. So, in fairness, I think she did, I mean, not amazing, but she did an actually good job singing it. The fact that it was so cringy and sucky was because of the company she used. Arc Music Factory, I think is what it was called. Hopefully they've gone bankrupt now. This is crap, dude. Anyway. Yeah. So in fairness, she caught so much crap for that. Like, seriously, she got bullied and stuff over that, which obviously I'm not okay with. And in fairness, she shouldn't have been bullied anyway. Even if bullying was okay. It's not. But even if it was okay, she shouldn't have been bullied over that because it wasn't her stuff. It was theirs. So, if anything, they should have been bullied. What the hell is this? More chemistry, kind of? Except not with atom symbols. So I'm not sure. Is this showing a reaction or something? Some kind of chemical reaction, maybe? I don't know. Alright, well, there's another drawing in there. I don't know what it means, really, but there's another drawing in there. Yeah, exactly. They basically said, what she said in an interview, she said that basically Arc Music Factory had 2 songs available for her. One was talking about like sex and deep love and stuff that she really had no experience with. And she's like, I'm also uncomfortable singing about sex when I'm 13 or whatever. Okay? So there was that. That was the first problem. That was the one song. The other choice was cheesy, cringy, garbage Friday song. She chose the song that at least didn't compromise her morals or put her in a really morally embarrassing position, you know, that much worse, right? She really didn't have a good choice. They really didn't give her much in terms of options, unfortunately. So she kind of was screwed. They kind of screwed her over. That company was really not good. And another amoeba lizard monster thingy something. Whatever the hell that drawing means. I don't know. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, but saying...
My heart is landfill. These false dawns waking into the still never light. I sweat for you in the small hours and wrap my blankets into a mass. I have always heard the waves break on these lost shores, always the gulls forgotten. I can lift this bottle to my ear, and all there ever is for me is this Hebridean music.
Hebridean music like Friday by Rebecca Black? Just kidding. I mean, I'm not taking all responsibility off of Rebecca Black, right? She had to agree to sing it. She had to choose it of the two songs. I'm just saying that it's not 100% her. I'd say, honestly, it's maybe 50% her and 50% Arc Music Factory. She's now, I guess, a really big YouTube, pretty big on YouTube, decently big at least, like millions of subscribers, because she's now doing actually her own music rather than somebody else's music. And I haven't really listened to her other music much, at least, if at all. But so these just go to the same place. Looks like this. Oh, does this end? Oh, this is a dead end, I think. Yeah, it goes off a cliff. Okay, let's try the other path. What? No! The other path. Let me go back. There we go. Phew. I was like, let's try the other way and see. Well, Selena Gomez has almost as cringy songs. So, I don't know. Her songs are pretty friggin' cringe, too. Selena Gomez is not a songwriter. She can sing well. She cannot write music for crap. I'm sorry, but she really can't. I'm so sick of that same old love. They can't treat me up. I'm so sick of that same old love. Like, I wince while I sing it, even mockingly. You can tell I'm a Selena Gomez fan, huh? I love Wizards of Waverly Place. Yes. Yes.
What to make of Donnelly, the laudanum and the syphilis? It is clearly not how he began, but I've been unable to discover if the former was a result of his visiting the island or the force that drove him here. For the syphilis, a drunk driver smashing his insides into a pulp as he stumbled these paths, I can only offer my empathy. We're all victims of our age. My disease is the internal combustion engine and the cheap fermentation of yeast.
Okay, but honestly, syphilis is not something you contract because you're older. Syphilis is a venereal disease transmitted through sexual relations. So if you don't have your partner or whatever get checked before you sleep with them, or worse, if you don't know them, so you don't know if you could trust whether they've got the disease or not, that has nothing to do with age. So I'm not saying maybe don't feel bad if somebody's got that, But that really has nothing to do with age.
They found
Like at all.
Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. All around him, small flowers were reaching for the weak sun. The goats had adjusted happily to life without a shepherd and were grazing freely about the valley. Donnelly reports they hurled the body in fear and disgust down the shaft, but I cannot corroborate this story.
Well, he said, as for the syphilis, and then some other stuff, and then he said, he said something along the lines of, as for the syphilis, I can only, like empathize or sympathize with him as of like such and such other effects that come with age or something like that. Said something like that, something asinine. I'm like, that doesn't come from age. But who knows when the setting of this is, right? If this is set sometime in like the early 20th century or late 19th century, maybe some people thought it was age related. I don't know. Although, in honesty, I would assume by the beginning of the 20th century, we knew it was sexually transmitted. But yeah, I, for a lot of years, really badly tried to give pop music a chance. And there are some songs that I actually do like. But, boy, if you have to go through 30 garbage songs for one at least decent song, it's not a good ratio. It's a bad track record. Like, of course, in fairness, half of that stuff that's crap, not literally half, obviously, but a lot of those songs that are just total garbage in pop are from former Disney stars. So, there's that, too. The Jonas
Climbing down to the
Brothers
cave,
and stuff.
I slipped and fell and have injured my leg. I think the femur is broken. It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
Oh. So he's not gonna... The guy we're playing is not gonna last much longer, I guess. Well, that's unfortunate. He slipped and broke his leg. Okay. I don't know which way goes on. I'm gonna guess that way goes on. Let's try this cave, alcove, whatever this is over here. Everything except COVID. Well, let's see. He has gonorrhea. He has syphilis. He has the measles. He has the mumps. He has the flu. He's got herpes. He has AIDS. He has cancer. But he doesn't have COVID, so there's that. Yeah. That's messed up. You know what this... Okay, right... Just this part right here. You know what this a little bit... Not fully, but this a little bit reminds me of? That horror game I played a while ago called Kholat. where you're up in the Ural Mountains in, like, basically Russia. Whoa! Wait, that went on? No, but I wanted the other path. Seriously?
From here, this last time, I have understood there is no turning back. The torch is failing along with my resolve. And hear the singing of the sea creatures from the passages above me, and they are promising the return of the gulls.
Hey, jerk! Let me go take that other path. Well, I guess that's not happening. Okay, I'm going this other way. I do not like that one specific aspect of this game. That there's like side areas to advance through, and the game doesn't tell you which one is going to be the thing that moves you on or whatever. And so you have to guess, try to find it out. That is a little annoying because I wanted to see what there was clearly another path. Yeah. Any progress made in this chapter will be lost. Yeah, see, I'm a new chapter. So I would... So this will just take me back to the beginning of the chapter, I assume? I'm going to see what this does. Hang on. Just going to load just the new chapter. Yep.
Donnelly's addiction is my one true constant. Even though I wake in false dawns and find the landscape changing, flowing in constantly through my tears, I know his reaching is always upon me.
Yep, so I can't back up. Okay, good to know. It'd be nice if you could load the chapters, like start at the beginning of a chapter, instead of just resuming with the latest chapter. I don't know if I ever asked you, Fofox, do you have medication for your anxiety or anything? Sometimes, I don't know how much they do or not. I hear sometimes those help, but I also think I've heard that sometimes they don't. So it just depends, I guess. Alright. Interesting. So you suddenly like climb up or something once you get to this point. Interesting. I would not have expected that.
It was as if someone had taken the car and shaken it like a cocktail. The glove compartment had been opened and emptied with the ashtrays and the boot. It made for a crumpled museum, a shattered exhibition.
We have more symbols of some kind here. This actually, I don't think it is necessarily, But this actually looks more like an electronic schematic than some chemistry diagram. Huh. Shrooms. Yeah. I mean, that might help. I don't know. Oh, it probably changing this to the other is probably just dependent on how close the ceiling is. So I'm crouching down when the stalactites and things are too close. Oh, that's pretty. See, now here clearly you can't move on. But that other one I didn't know, didn't realize I was going to slide down. Yeah, and that's another problem with medication. Even if it helps, there are always potentially side effects. Yeah. A lot of these little mushrooms, huh? These sort of, they don't look exactly like it. These sort of look like little jellyfish on the top with the umbrella. The caps of the mushrooms, how they're kind of transparent or translucent. But obviously they're not jellyfish. I'm saying they kind of look like them. And there's that also. So these are the other falls. We dove off of there, came down, and now have come around. So we obviously don't want to go down again. I mean, unless, you know, you've not seen enough of down below. But I'm going to guess no. Yeah.
I'm traversing my own death throes. The infection in my leg is an oil rig that dredges black muck up from deep inside my bones. I swallow fistfuls of diazepam and paracetamol to stay conscious. The pain flows through me like an underground sea.
You got slapped by a jellyfish? Ouch. How bad did that sting? Because... See, like here. If I cross this bridge, am I not going to be able to go back? If I go down that way, am I not going to be able to go back? If I go down that way, am I not going to be able to go back? This game has that type of thing too much. So I don't know which way I need to go. Maybe they're doing that so there's replayability, so there's something new to explore the next time or something. But it's kind of annoying when you realize there's really... It's just a story it's telling. So there's not really much in terms of gameplay. It's pretty much walking around getting things narrated to you so you know what's happened. That's pretty much the game. So the fact that you might miss part of the narrative because you didn't know to go a certain direction, excuse me, is a little bit... It's a little bit no bueno. It's a little bit not good. Less good, anyway. Maybe not good isn't the right thing to say. Maybe it's less good, but it's unfortunate. I think so, but I also think that there are... I don't know about diazepam specifically, but I know that there are some drugs that can have additional effects. Not just... Like, there are some drugs that are prescribed for multiple conditions. So maybe diazepam helps with pain, or maybe it helps with infection or something. I'm not sure. Yeah. Jellyfish are really pretty, but yeah, they really don't like you being around them, and they will tell you. So that's unfortunate. Or maybe I should say it's not they don't like you being around them. They really want you to become a part of them, as it were. Dissolve you and eat you up, right? Okay, so let's see what's down this way. I'm assuming climbing up is going to be our destination. But again, just like I was saying with other parts of the game, you make these assumptions, not knowing for sure, and so you might miss out on stuff. Does this dead end, or does this keep flowing for a long ways? I think this dead ends as far as what we can traverse. Yeah, there we go. Cannot go any farther. Let me back up. Oh, yes, but all the way over here. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is maybe diazepam's for infection or something else, yeah. But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of times there's medication that doctors generally prescribe for specific conditions that have additional effects. And so maybe this guy knows enough about diazepam that he was like, well, if I take that, then it can help mitigate the kind of negative effect my infection has on me or something. I don't know. Like, also, if diazepam is for depression, a lot of times drugs for that kind of condition maybe lessen your scent. They mute or null or not null. What do you call it? Mute or dull your senses. So it might dull his senses, even though he doesn't have depression. Maybe it dulls his senses so that he doesn't notice the pain or feel the pain as much or something. I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before, right? Like, people are only okay, and I don't mean just agreeing with, I also mean things like mentally okay or physically okay, right? People are only, there's a tree over here also, so more of these drawings as we go, or a tree amoeba or something, whatever that is. People are only okay with isolation to a certain point. And then some people not at all, obviously, if you have an anxiety about that or something. But generally speaking, something foreign, unusual, like isolation that we're not accustomed to, there are a lot of people who can only take that so long, and then it's a big problem for them.
This is a drowned man's face, reflected in the moonlit waters. It can only be a dead shepherd who has come to drunk drive you home.
And that's what I was saying on a previous stream, I think. But yeah, you can only do that so long, and then it's a problem. So, can I climb out of here? Oh, good. I was like, please, game, tell me I can get out of the pool. So, anyway. Yeah. You have to really be of a specific kind of mental constitution to be able to handle it. Like some people, for example, do not do well isolated. They have to be around other people and regularly communicating with other people. And so people that are in that kind of situation, it's bad. It's hard for them, definitely. This says, behold, Damascus is taken. Okay. Behold, Damascus is taken. We have, more in-depth chemistry. These are different molecules also, because you have nitrogen on this one now. Here's the one I think we've seen before. There's this also. Here's kind of that, what I thought looked more like an electronics diagram or series of those. Axon 22.0. I think there's a decimal place there. Damascus is taken again. Not sure what that says exactly. It looks like to me like maybe 0.7%, and then 5, I can't tell, maybe 510, maybe 5101. Not quite sure what that last number is. Anyway, something along those lines again. Aegis, maybe? Damascus is taken as backwards there. Like looking through a mirror kind of backwards. away from being a city. And it shall be a something. Poinous? I don't know. I kind of, at first, I thought maybe it said poisonous or something, but it doesn't say that. I'm not sure. I don't know what that says exactly. And I don't know how to interpret it either, if it's like symbolic or something in meaning. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there's no doubt it's hard on people. Definitely. I've already said multiple times I go a little bit stir crazy. Like I have to go out and do something. I don't know, maybe go camping or something, but just get away from things for a bit. I can't imagine like only ever really being in your apartment or house or something during this. You never really go anywhere except for where you've been. It's just no change in scenery. It's everything is the same every single day. It's not cool. Oh, nice. Oh, I guess I'm going underneath. Okay. Okay. Did he say he had a broken leg, though? How is he swimming and stuff with a broken leg? Can you swim? Because don't you have to kick with your leg? But I don't know. Oh, yeah, with the earthquake, too. Yeah. Well, I had mentioned we had an earthquake here in Utah, too, so that was a thing. Yep. Celebrities who also probably have servants still that bring them stuff, clean their house for them and stuff. Probably just have their servants living with them. Oh, what? So all of this got flooded at some point? Weird. What happens if I go on one of these overpasses? Can I get up to one of them maybe and see what... Oh, it faded to black, so maybe not. I guess that was a memory or something of what had happened previously? I don't know. Yeah, when I was saying like electronics and stuff, I was talking about circuits, yeah. Yeah. Me? Oh, I don't. They're very slowly phasing it back in to where you would go into the workplace. I'm not yet part of that phasing in, so I don't know. In fairness, I mean, I locally, like in the city where I live, I'm able to actually go out and do something like go to a park. I still have to stay 6 feet away from people, but I could do something like go to the park or go camping or something. So I could potentially do that, and that gets me out, so I don't get quite as stir crazy as I otherwise would be. So there's some of that. Just kind of depends, but I guess we came from there. Up above. See, and again, with going left and going right, I have... How would you know if you need to go left or versus right? How would you know? You wouldn't,
I
right?
wish I could have known Donnelly in this place. We would have had so much to debate. Did he paint these stones or did I? Who left the pots in the hut by the jetty? Who formed the museum under the sea? Who fell silently to his death into the frozen waters? Who erected this godforsaken aerial in the first place? Did this whole island rise to the surface of my stomach, forcing the gulls to take flight?
I don't think I can get back up that way. It was looking like it was going to block me. Let's come around here again. But that's where we came from, right? See, and so in this case, it doesn't really matter which way you went because there's a path to get through anyway. But it's not always like that. See, that's what I'm saying. That's the problem I have with the game. Is it's unclear and it's not always, well, I could just come back later, so you might miss stuff. I like it. I like it a lot. I think that particular aspect could have been done a little bit better, but that's fine. Yeah, I mean, if you're the type of person who worries about death, right, and you're scared to die and stuff, that's fine. I mean, your personality's different than somebody else's, right? So I'm okay with you feeling that way. I mean, if that, I don't think that's probably a fun thing to worry about all the time or anything. But I mean, obviously, I'm okay if somebody worries like that, is worried about that. Obviously, I think that's fine. But somebody worrying about that should not override somebody who doesn't worry about that, right? Like, you don't get rid of somebody else's rights.
We shall begin to assemble our own version of the North Shore. We will scrawl in dead languages and electrical diagrams and hide them away for future theologians to muse and mumble over. We will send a letter to Esther Donnelly and demand her answer. We will mix the paint with ashes and tarmac and the glow from our infections. We will paint a moon over the Sanford Junction and blue lights falling like stars along the hard shoulder.
Right? So you don't sacrifice somebody else's rights because you don't sacrifice the rights of person B because person A really worries about X, Y, and Z. That's not right. Like you're yeah. I don't feel like that's something that should be allowed. I'm nervous about this. Oh, okay. Well, screw this other person then. Let's make you not nervous. It's a balancing act, right? You should care about both people's perspectives, not just one. So I guess this is a defibrillator, yeah. So they were doing some kind of operation trying to take care of the wound or something. This guy's wound, maybe? His leg? Or is he happening upon where other people had previously done operations or whatever? Small, maybe medical procedures, trying to help somebody. Yeah, I think all the rest of that is where we've already been. Yeah. I do find it interesting. There was, I guess, in the Seattle area, so from where I originally come from, right? I guess in, well, maybe not Seattle specifically, but in that area of Washington State in the United States. I guess there's a group saying that COVID is a big conspiracy and stuff. Or at least they were. I don't know if they still are saying that. It's like, okay, well, I mean, like, they're saying conspiracy meaning, like, saying stuff like COVID doesn't actually exist and stuff. I think that's silly. How can you deny that COVID, is killing people when you have people dead? And the autopsy shows that the cause was COVID-19. I mean, I don't understand how you can dispute that, but there were some people, there's a group of people apparently who were like, oh, it's all a big conspiracy, it's not really a danger and stuff. I'm like, I don't. Of all of the different conspiracy angles you could take in this situation too, right? Because you could say, oh, it's a conspiracy, the such and such group or people or whatever were the ones who made this outbreak happen, blah, blah, blah. Of all that conspiracy stuff you could engage in, you're going to completely deny the existence of the virus? Okay, hopefully nobody you love dies as a result of your neglect, but okay.
There were chemical diagrams on the posters on the walls on the waiting room. It seemed appropriate at the time. Still life abstractions of the processes which had already begun to break down your nerves and your muscles in the next room. I crammed diazepam as I once crammed for chemistry examinations. I am revising my options for a long and happy life.
Yeah. Revising his options. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, when you're basically walking around all over the place with a broken leg and massive infection, and you're trying to force yourself to go somewhere, I mean, yeah. A light from heaven shone around him. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of things, and there's some things I'm not sure what to make of it either. But I have different opinions on different aspects of all this as well. Yeah. Like, saying it doesn't exist, I think, is ridiculous. But also obsessing about it is bad.
My armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
There are a lot of these little... Oh, here's where he did the boats and stuff that he was just describing. Interesting. There are a lot of these little kind of gatherings of candles already lit. Which is a little strange that there be candles still lit. Because it sounded like all this stuff that happened over a certain amount of time. I would guess the candles would have gone out, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's just like my opinion on everything. Well, not everything, maybe, but most things. Which is, you can always go extreme in any direction. You can go extreme and say it's absolutely nothing. There's nothing wrong, nothing to see here. That's extreme. You could also go extreme where you say it's everything and there's nothing else to consider. That's also an extreme. There has to be a balance in between stuff. Well, there are third-party candidates. Let's see. On a sudden, a light from heaven shone around him, and he fell to the ground. So there are third-party candidates too. There's Constitution Party, the Green Party, the well, it's not a Libertarian Party really, because Libertarians are generally kind of whatever, but there's Communist Party, there's a Socialist Party, like the Democratic Socialists of America. There's a lot of, it just depends on the party. So, but really, I mean, realistically, it's very rare for any third person to have enough momentum going into an election that they even have a chance to win. So, for example, Donald Trump, if he would have gone as an independent, probably would never have won the election in 2016. Just wouldn't have had enough momentum. But so he went Republican and gained a bunch of the momentum behind the Republican Party.
A sound of torn metal, teeth running over the edge of the rocks, a moon that casts a signal as I lay pinned beside you, the ticking of the cooling engine, and the calling from a great height, or my mind as a bypass.
Same thing with the Democrats. So if you look at, what was it, 1992? No, or was it 1988 actually, I think. Anyway, one of those, you had a third-party candidate named Ross Perot, who was really wealthy. He was like a Trump-level wealth back then. And he spent a ton of money to make people aware of him and that he was running for the presidency as well. He didn't win, but he did divide a lot of voters between the parties. So you had a lot of Democrats who did not vote Democrat but voted for him. You had Republicans who did not vote Republican who voted for him. All kind of because... Okay, that looks like that's going to move on because looks like there's somebody up on the cliff maybe there. So I'm going to try going this other way really fast before I finish going that way. But that's not very common. It's really hard, really, really hard in America to get a third-party person to get the presidency. Yeah, I have respect for Trump also. There are a lot of things Trump does that I don't like. There are a lot of things Trump does that I do like. So I'm kind of... I think I'd say I'm probably like 70-30. 70, maybe 70% in favor of stuff he does, and 30% against certain things he does. So overall, I'm happy with him as a president, but there are definitely things he does that I don't like. Yeah. So there's that. I didn't vote for him. I did not vote for him in 2016. I also will not, even though I like a lot of stuff he's done, I also will not vote for him in 2020. I'm going to vote Constitution Party because I'm a constitutionalist. Well, it's not constitutionalist. It's actually called constitutionist. but that's my affiliation officially. But in a place like where I live right now, you have to register as Democrat or Republican. You can vote a different way, but you have to register as a Democrat or Republican. So that's what I did. They sent me a thing for voting. We had to vote by the end of June. But there were no candidates that I liked. They were all Democrat or Republican, and I don't want to support either party, really. So I had a hard time with that. I mean, you vote, but it's like, meh. Yeah. Well, and in fairness, there is plenty that you can make fun of about him, but that's true about anybody. First of all, and secondly, doing it constantly like they do, they're no longer news.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
I think it looks like things go on that way. So let's go up here first before we move on. Ooh. And then if I dive off there, he'll be like, come back again. Probably, right? Alright. And as he was proceeding on his journey, ... Yeah. Oh, that was one thing. Yeah, that was one thing I was mentioning earlier that a lot of people don't understand. So the Electoral College, basically it says every state gets... Hang on. And was come near to Damascus. Okay, so he was proceeding on his journey and was coming near to Damascus. So this is referencing Jesus in the New Testament going to Damascus right on the road with a couple of people. And he... Well, I'm going to have to... And he was...
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
Okay. And he was... Yeah, and he was there. No, and he was 3 days in the tomb. No, in the... What? 3 days? Oh, and he was 3 days without sight. Okay. And neither did he eat nor drink. Sure. Don't let me forget, after I'm done with the stream, I'll send you some stuff on Discord. Anyway, so the Electoral College, what it basically says is every state has different populations, right? Like California, New York have big populations. Something like Wyoming or Kansas or something. they won't have nearly the same population, right? They have a lot lower population. To prevent any state from dominating the policy of the entire country, so it's more divided among everybody, kind of coming to a consensus, okay? An agreement of how things should work. So to prevent one or two states from taking over everything, you take your population of your state, you give a base number of electoral votes to each state, okay? So each state gets at least one. Every state gets at least one. And then for however much population you have, you get additional electoral votes. And then what you have is you have a person, let's say like you have in the state, you have counties, okay? One county will have everybody in it cast their vote. What they do is they vote for a representative. That one representative within that county then casts a vote for that whole county. And so all the counties within the state give you certain results, if that makes sense. Now each state has a little bit different rules, so sometimes they actually go by or some states say that the person who is the representative of the county must vote according to the majority opinion within that county, and some states say the person that's a representative can vote however they want. Depends on the state. So anyway, so that's how that works. So the Electoral College then says somebody to win the presidency must have at least X number of electoral votes. Okay? So if you don't have enough electoral votes, you can't win.
Weigh me down and ensure my descent is true and straight. I will break through the fog of these godforsaken pills and achieve clarity. All my functions are clogged, all my veins are choked. If my leg doesn't rot off before I reach the summit, it will be a miracle. There are 21 connections in the circuit diagram of the anti-lock brakes. There are 21 species of gull inhabiting these islands. It is 21 miles between the Sandford Junction and the turn-off for home. All these things cannot, will not be a coincidence.
Interesting. Everything comes down to 21 something. Anyway, so that's how, yeah. that's I don't want to run. I'm never running for office. I hate politics. Anyway, so that's how that all works, right? So Donald Trump won in 2016 because he had enough electoral votes. But if you took the popular vote, like all the individuals and how they voted, and put them against each other, Hillary Clinton won. So Hillary Clinton had more individuals voting for her than Donald Trump did, but Donald Trump had more representatives voting for him than Hillary Clinton did. The result of that is that Donald Trump wins the election because that's why I was saying earlier, we're a representative democracy, or we're a republic, or a representative democracy. In other words, we go based on a system of representation, not every single individual being counted. And the reason for that is, again, to prevent the it's to prevent the will of the majority from bullying the will of the minority. If you have, so America has something like 335 or something million people in it, okay? If you had what's about half? Let's say you had 170 million people wanting one thing and 165 million people wanting something else. The 170 million people will get their own way, or will get their way because there are more in population. So that's fine in concept. But when most of the population lives in California and Chicago, or at Illinois because of Chicago, and Washington D.C. and Pennsylvania and Washington State and Oregon, you know, like on the coasts, the whole middle gets neglected because there's no representation for them. So they limit how much these very large population centers can have in terms of number of votes qualifying for an election, so that the other states collectively can have a chance to get policies that will reflect their values and their desires. Otherwise, you have something called mob rule, which sounds in theory right. The majority should get to decide what happens. But the problem is, the majority very easy can bully the minority by saying, I believe this is right, or we believe this is right. The rest of you, we ignore any special circumstances you may have. You must adhere to these policies. And so you completely disregard what other people might actually even need. So, yeah, there's this weird... Now it's kind of combining things, right? Like there's a little bit of chemistry involved, but then connecting to circuitry, connecting to... It's very strange. Okay. Anyway, so the electoral college system is specifically designed to try to prevent majority from bullying minority. And it works both ways. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. Or sometimes not good. Sometimes it turns out the way you want it to, and sometimes it doesn't, I should say. And he came to pass that as I made my journey, don't fall off there, and was come right into I don't know what that says. Oh, Damascus. Okay. Something noon? Can't quite tell what that says. Something noon, though. Okay. Yeah, noon. It's not no one. I was making sure there wasn't an E on the end. Suddenly there's shown from heaven a great light round about. Will fall off if I'm not careful. Okay, suddenly there's shown from heaven a great light round about me, and could not see for...
He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all. He had not drunk with Donnelly or spat Jakobsen back at the sea. He had not careered across the lost shores and terminal beaches of this nascent archipelago. He did not intend his bonnet to be crumpled like a spent tissue by the impact. His windscreen was not star-studded all over like a map of the heavens. His paintwork etched with circuit diagrams, strange fish to call the gulls away. The phosphorescence of the skid marks lighting the M5 all the way from Exeter to Damascus.
So suddenly a light shone and could not see for the glory that light being led by the hand of men. So a lot of scriptural passages here, a lot of quotes from the Bible here and there for various reasons. Interesting. Yeah, it's annoying, right? I know, I hate politics. I really do. Yeah. I can't see how he would. I cannot see how he would ever win. I really can't. Wait, there's more? Crap. Came something that were with... Okay. That were with me. Something that were with me. Came into, and then something that were with me. I came into. I came into Damascus. Yep. Okay. Yeah, the character we're playing, I think, is about to die.
I will abandon this body and take to the air. Dear Esther,
Cutscene.
I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We have always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
Seriously? So just committed suicide? Is that what's going on? He said take to the air, but I mean... It's not really... You can't really get to the air. You're not really going to fly or something here, so... I guess that's what happens. Oh! Or maybe he will fly. What the... Oh, is this... Maybe this is his spirit. Maybe he died up there and this is his ghost. Or whatever, spirit flying around. Interesting. So I guess the island draws people to it, where they decide to leave this life there. Like that's the last of. They spend the last days of their lives there, or whatever, exploring. It's almost like migration of animals, right? Like trout swim upstream each year before they die and all that. Interesting. Yeah, Jessica Curry. Yep. Yeah, she's so talented. Like I've listened to other stuff she's done. She's so stinking talented. All right. Well, there you go. Nigel Carrington was the narrator, voice actor. Well, I don't know if he was dead the entire time. I feel like because there's some places, for example, where a flashlight goes on too, and I get it's a mechanic to help you see as the player, but I still feel like I don't think he was. Plus, he talked about his he talked about specifically when he climbed down to the cave that's when he broke his femur. So I feel like he was alive, but was trying to make sense of these different connections, like Donnelly, Esther Donnelly, and Jakobsen and stuff, who had been there before, like things they'd painted and stuff, trying to make sense of some of that and put pieces of that together, as well as make his own journey. And it led him to eventually go to that tower. And then I think he went to the tower and died at the tower, and then his spirit, the idea is his spirit came out of his body and then flew wherever he was going to go. I think that's, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I feel like that's probably. Yeah, exactly. I think it's supposed to be the spirit. Yep. All right. All right, so that's my stream for now. I will be streaming again tonight at the time that I normally stream on Fridays and Saturdays as well. So I'll be doing that. Yeah, it was a mod. That's right. Yep, exactly. It was a mod that they turned it into a full-blown game. Kind of like what they did with Machine for Pigs. Did you realize that? They did the same thing basically for that. In Amnesia Machine for Pigs, they basically did a mod of the original Amnesia game and made Machine for Pigs using that. And that's how that worked out. So, wait, what? Yes, Patak? Yeah. Yep. I mean, I don't know if it's 100%, but basically, yeah, they heavily modified. So you have the Amnesia engine. They first made it, the first version of the engine was for all the Penumbra games. The second version of the engine was for Amnesia the Dark Descent. And also the Justine expand, like DLC and stuff. Then halfway between that and Soma, so Soma was the third edition of their engine. Okay. Halfway between that, Chinese Room got the second version of the engine, gaming engine, and they heavily modified it for a Machine for Pigs. And then the new Amnesia game that's coming out this year, I'm guessing is going to be the fourth version of their engine. So, yep. So that's how that worked. So anyway, there you go. Learn something new every day. Now you have more information about gaming. Yep. You can look it up too if you want more details. I only gave you kind of an overview of it. But anyway, all right. So I'll be streaming again tonight, same time as Friday and Saturday nights. Otherwise, I will see you guys whenever you can make it next. Thanks for watching. It was great playing Dear Esther. I'll talk to you guys soon. Till next time. Peace.
Poor spider.
This freaking boy. Oh, that's so sad.